oh man, it's getting crazy, right? You know, now the FBA delineation movement is picking up steam, and you have these people from the radical right and the radical left, conservatives, sellouts, all kinds of people, right, coming out now and using the talking points. And after today, and after this video, these W folks, they can no longer act like they don't understand what FBA is and what we're saying. These immigrants, because I don't want to call everyone a tether. They can't act like they don't understand what we're saying, because they know full well what it is that we're saying, what it is that we're asking for, and how we've been duped, and how a lot of things that was written and the way things were written was actually written against us when we thought it was in our favor. Because we didn't have things that were specifically said for the Negro colored people. They said for all people of color, of jurisdiction thereof, and all kinds of different words that they wanted to use of all peoples. And so now it turned into POC and all people of color. But now you have this dude, James Fishburne, who's running for governor down there in Florida, and Byron Donalds, who's a tether immigrant, who speaks out against our reparations. He's not for us, right? But he's cosplaying as us, right? And we're calling it out. We're saying, no, this dude don't represent us. He represents those people over there. He speaks for those people. Don't speak on our behalf. Don't mention us. Don't at all. Now, let's first, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, let's look at Byron Donalds and how he spoke out against our reparations first.
Black. Now, let me translate to what's happened in California. So there was a bill in California for reparations. The California Assembly, which is massively Democrat, they didn't move that bill. They could have moved that bill. When they were asked why they weren't moving that bill, they tucked tail and turned and ran away. They didn't even have the guts to actually answer that question. So I'm here with y'all. I'll tell you why I'm a no. But you have Democrats who will say they're for something, but when it comes time to actually do it, they're not there for you. They say they run away. They don't answer the question, and to be blunt, like the current vice president, not answering a lot of questions.
But she did say that she's for reparations.
After she said she wasn't. So which one is it?
No, she never said she wasn't.
That's never happened.
That's the false narrative.
All right, that's fine. I'm gonna let it
go.
She
was here when she said it.
But we have a history of racism in America.
So you are for some type of
Yes, I am.
reparation. Okay.
Yes, I am.
I'm not gonna challenge.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna challenge.
But I guess the question is, Congressman, you say that you're not for reparations, then you go on to say that there are a lot of elected officials. We know that racism is a bipartisan problem, right? So on that, do you know who was the father of affirmative action?
No, that's a good question. Actually, I don't know the answer to that one.
The answer is a Republican by the name of Dr. Arthur Fletcher, who worked, you brought up Richard Nixon earlier. He worked with Richard Nixon.
Right.
But I've noted that you are opposed to affirmative action. Again, another policy that would democratize access to all of the things that you've talked about today, including economic access for Black people. Mm-hmm. So on that.
What do you want Black people to have, Byron?
I want them to have everything. I want them to have access to everything that this nation can do when it's running right.
How do
so
we
why,
do that?
why be against the legislation that provides that then?
Yeah.
Because you have a situation now where the real question is, do you need affirmative action today? Mm-hmm. Not did you need affirmative action? The answer to that is 100% yes. You absolutely needed it. The question is in 2024, in 2028, in 2032, do you need that now? I would argue the thing you need more now is you got to have equality in terms of the level of academic attainment for young Black kids. What a young Black kid needs more now than anything today is to be able to read and write, read at grade level, write at grade level, do math at grade level, and frankly, and beyond. That's what they need today.
You know, Byron, I don't disagree with you, but I just don't trust white supremacy that much.
Yeah, I don't think
I feel like you need that type of legislation. I feel like you need those guardrails in place to make sure. To protect, yes, and to make sure those type of things happen.
Now, that was him on the Breakfast Club, right? And he was on there with Angela Rye and Charlamagne, and he was speaking as a true immigrant, married to a W woman, right? He's not speaking on behalf of us. He doesn't come from the soil. And he was saying, like, yo, these things wouldn't be for me, so why would I be for it? Right? But too many of these people come here and they've been here for 2 days and they come on the block like they're a shot caller, like they're calling the shots. So now you have Tucker Carlson, right? And we know that these people are W supremacists, right? We know that these people are not allies to us, right? But the same way that they want to use our talking points and use us as a catalyst to go against Byron Donalds, we're going to use them now as the same thing to work in our favor. So now you're speaking on FBA. You're acknowledging UW folks are acknowledging what we've been through and what your people did to us, right? And what's supposed to be deserving of us, right? And knowing that our talking points is right? You guys are acknowledging this. So now when we come up with our reparations claims, right, going all the way back to Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary Bethune-McLeod, all the way back to President Roosevelt, we was trying to get anti-lynching bills passed, right? We've been fighting this fight and things that's been on the books way a long time ago. You guys are well aware of this because now you're invoking it to go against Byron Donalds and say Byron Donalds' mother's Jamaican, his father's Panamanian, he is not a black American, so he should not be speaking on behalf of the black Americans, right? That's what you guys are saying, right? So this Fishback dude is basically saying that he's fighting where immigrants shouldn't be able to come here and buy up all the real estate and all the properties, right? And create them in the Airbnbs. Young couples getting married should be able to have first dibs on buying homes. If you're an immigrant, you shouldn't be able to just come here and just buy up homes. And he's trying to do some things and he's invoking FBAs in that argument, right? Check this out.
And I think this idea of the party labels has become a hall of mirrors.
That's for sure.
Right? What you see isn't what you get. I mean, by the way, Byron Donalds, as of right now, still endorses Randy Fine's re-election bid, despite that starve away comment. And they tried to cancel you for having a conversation with a certain someone. He's literally endorsing a member of Congress who told innocent children who were literally starving on video to starve away. That tells you everything you need to know about my opponent, Byron Donalds.
What I know Byron, and I've always gotten along with him. He's super cheerful. I didn't realize, is he ideological? I've never detected that.
No. That's why I call him a slave.
Yeah. And they called you a racist for that?
They did. Which is actually quite interesting because I got a call from the Foundational Black American Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
You've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's
Literally.
a fair perspective,
right.
I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. That's actually cultural appropriation. Appropriating a struggle of slavery.
I totally agree.
And the struggle of slavery was real. I don't think Republicans ever want to really whitewash that. It's real,
no.
Right? But for
we're
Byron,
against slavery.
We're against it.
Whether it's in the, West Bank or here or anywhere.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, against it.
And so for Byron's group, his team, to call me and essentially our entire supporting base racists for saying that you're a slave when quite literally you took $45 million. You won't tell us what you agreed to take that money this early in a primary, which is unprecedented. You know this, how unprecedented that kind of money is in an uncontested primary until now. But secondarily, to actually go out and try to gaslight us and think that you're just one of those guys that has been here, since the early 1800s and your family was in the struggle too, you're not. And that's a very interesting term that the Foundational Black Americans use. It's called tether. They're tethering these tethers like Byron Donalds. They come here literally one generation in, and they try to just sit around and act so folksy that we're all part of the same struggle and we're all down on and we need to fight against. No, you just got here, dude. Like the Haitians, like the guys from Ghana who just got here, you don't get to just be a part of our system and then lecture us about how our country went wrong.
Well, and if you're a Republican, supposedly conservative Republican, to throw around the term racist, I mean, that's what I'll speak for myself. I voted against that in November last year.
Right.
I don't like that style of non-argument. Just dismiss someone off the top. You're a bad person. I don't have to respond to your specific charge against me. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
I thought aren't we opposed to that? Identity politics?
100%. And I'll tell you, the identity politics of the right is probably the greatest it's ever been, but it's actually codified into law, which is the scariest part.
I've noticed that.
Right? Say what you want, but left-wing identity politics never criminalized being a racist to a black person. In that sense, like there was never a hate speech law against, which would have been unjust, to call out a black person or black culture or anything like that. I think that's deplorable to single out any, as a Christian, I would, of course, condemn that.
No, of course.
But it's interesting that there's only a hate speech law for one particular foreign nation as opposed to anything. I'm against them.
So now a lot of these people are going to start using our talking points because we may have the ability to now sway elections. Because if we really start moving politically like we need to, and start getting registered voters across America and say, listen, we ain't supporting none of you devils. We're going to support the people that meet our interests. They starting to hear us. We starting to be very loud. And they know now that the old guard, nobody's listening to them anymore. The younger people that are from 18 to 25, they're not listening to that old Negro spiritual, let's all just come together and pray and kumbaya. They ain't listening to that no more. We're forging our own reality going forward. A lot of the elders, God bless them, but they're not going to be here in the next 10 years. So the young people got to forge their own road, their own reality, and make things for themselves going forward. And they're not going with their old way of thinking. Following the Democratic Party has gotten us nowhere. It's been a colossal failure. The community, we still being gentrified out the communities. They put the immigrants here to replace us. There's all kinds of this. It's just in disarray. We already know that the Republicans historically have always been racist. Right? Even back when we were Republicans, right? So now we're in the middle saying, yo, listen, this is who we are. We're naming, reclaiming ourselves. Whoever's going to meet us to our demands, then we'll sit down and we'll negotiate with you. That's where we at with it. But now let's revisit what some immigrants over in London was saying, where this professor broke down why. He said we got to take the emotion out and listen. Forget the emotion. Look at everything as a blank canvas. He said he disagrees with FBA, but he knows why it exists. And he broke down to this tether why FBA exists, right? And how and why we had to delineate and why these groups will come here and be racist against us. He fully understands. So now these tethers can't say they don't understand because a professor from your side is telling you where it's coming from. Check this out.
What's your views on Tariq Nasheed? Because he's got this thing called Foundational Black American.
Yeah.
What is that about? Because I feel like that's pure division, if I'm not going to...
It is. But I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. This is what it is. There were too many black people from outside Africa, from outside America, going to America and playing the arse. And what it is African Americans spotted this and spotted that there's a consistent pattern. Black Caribbeans, black people from Africa going to America and being the arse. And what the FBA agenda is putting up a wall and saying, no, you guys can't be a part of this if you're going to be on that, raccoon train.
When you say playing the arse, what? Because from what I know, a lot of Africans, a lot of Caribbeans who go there, academically, they're surpassing them. And also business-wise, they're surpassing them. So who was playing the arse?
When they then use that to say, well, that means that you African Americans are lazy. Do you see?
Yes.
And then being on some right-wing conservatism, let's throw African Americans under the bus.
That is true.
Let's pretend that Jim Crow didn't happen, redlining didn't happen, breaking up of African American business districts, breaking up of African American families. The COINTELPRO didn't happen. The Iran Contras and then moving drugs into the black community didn't happen. Yeah. And there's a whole list of things continuing right up until now that the American government has done to African Americans. And so for those black people recently arrived from outside America, you all didn't face any of that. So of course you're going to be doing better than African Americans. Duh.
Yeah. But not all of them can be affected by this. There's always got to be certain people who rise above it regardless of what the situation is. It's just the natural nature thing. Weeds grow through gardens, you name it. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it is that a country like Jamaica or Africa, where they too have had their deprivations, had their colonialism, had their slavery, Why do they go somewhere and tend to excel amongst people who also have gone through it?
Because you're not comparing like with like, that's why.
Okay.
A lot of us think we are comparing like with like. You're not. Let me explain. Generally speaking, Caribbeans in America, not the ones in the Caribbean, but the ones in America, will represent the top 10%.
I see.
So if you're really going to compare like with like, you have to compare the top 10% of Caribbeans with the top 10% of African Americans.
Okay.
And when you compare the two, the African Americans are slaughtering us, bro. It's not even close. It's a massacre. But what it is we compare the top 10% with your average African American. You're not comparing like with like. And if you compare your average African American, you're 51, you've got 1 to 100 and Mr. number 51. Number 51 is richer by a factor of 20 than your average Jamaican. Do you see? So what happens is it's a perception thing. Now, let's be clear. We can all point to people from outside America, go to America and rise. Yeah? Colin Powell did that. Kamala Davy Harris has done that, whatever. But you can't pretend that's typical. Do you see?
Yeah.
But what happens is because we live in a world where people don't really have full pictures, you can take the exception, use that to smack around African Americans' faces. This guy just got off the boat. He's doing better than you. Not realizing, but for my man to have got on the boat in the first place, he wasn't typical of the country that he was coming from. He was in the top echelons of that country. Do you see?
Yeah.
And the same is true also with people from Africa going to Black America. So if we're going to compare the top 10%, let's compare the top 10%. And when we do that, African Americans are slaughtering us.
So for a lot of groups that like to come to America and say, well, we're outperforming the Black Americans when we come to America. And he broke that down so good. He said, no, you're not. He said, normally when you leave your country, the best of the best leave, the top echelon of the 10%, and you come to America, right, as a minority, and you start to outperform. But if you put that 10% up to the top echelon 10% of Black Americans, they blow y'all out the water. You're comparing the top echelon to the lower echelon of Blacks in America and think you're doing something. But you're actually coming and you're riding off the coattails in the backs of professional Blacks that paved the road already for you. Everything that you're doing, they already did. You're not inventing the wheel. You're coming here, becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, becoming a dentist, becoming entrepreneurs and all these different things because you saw Black Americans do it first. You're not outpacing and outperforming Black Americans because the top 10% of Black Americans obliterate all the other Blacks around the world. But you know something? You know what's funny? You don't see FBA Americans bragging that on other groups. But other groups are coming here. As that immigrant said, not George Macon's word. The brother said it. He said it. You know what? You know why he's able to say it? He's at the barbecues. He's at the water coolers. He's in the gym. He's in the house at the dinner table. He's in the bedroom with the immigrants. He knows what they say about us. And he's blowing the whistle. Ho, 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 flag on the play. Stop talking bad about foundational Black Americans when you're not doing it in your own country and they only letting the best of the best go to America and you're comparing yourself to the lower level of Black Americans as if you're better. You're not comparing yourself to the upper echelon of Black Americans because there's over 60 million Black Americans and it's way more professional Black Americans than it is damn near in your country. And you come in here talking down. No, you should be paying homage and be saying thank you for paving the road and creating a platform for me to come and do it. Because W folks didn't even want you here, and W folks are racist. You should be thanking foundational Black Americans that you can come here and get some white cooch. Yes, you Jamaicans, you Africans, you should be thanking foundational Black American men and women that you can come here and even sniff some W cooch. Or come here and get the Pink Panther. right? You come here and bypass all the black people and run right to the Pink Panther. Thank us fighting for racial equality for everybody that you can come here and even have a Pink Panther, man. Or you can get some W Cooch. Because if it was left up to them, right, they would still have us discriminated, living in discriminated communities and everything else. We thought we was getting our heads kicked in, dogs sicked on us for equality. Y'all wasn't here yet. But you come here and go get you some W Cooch or let some Pink Panther run all up in you, and now you think you're better than us. Nah, you wouldn't even have that Pink Panther if it wasn't for my grandparents fighting for you to have equality here in America. And it ain't me saying it. That immigrant professor just told you. So if you leave stupid comments in my comment section, I'm gonna block you. Because I'm not dealing with people with slow gases. The professor just told you. And he knows how y'all talk and the way y'all think. He just exposed it. Tucker Carlson and the W folks exposed it. So Tucker Carlson and them W demons, they can't act like they don't understand what FBA talking points are, because they definitely do. Because it's ironic how they want to use it now to go after Byron Donalds, right? So now we're going to use that in our favor. But y'all let me know what y'all think. If y'all made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.